Hey guys, this is immigration lawyer Michael Ashoori. Today we're going to be talking about the E2 visa. So let's get started. A little bit of background about me. I'm a U.S. immigration lawyer and my business typically focuses on investment and employment-based immigration. A large part of our practice is the E2 visa, and that's what we're going to be discussing today. So first and foremost, what is the E2 visa? Basically, the E2 visa is a non-immigrant visa which allows you to live and work in the United States based on making an investment in a U.S. business. So basically, you make an investment in a business, and based on making that investment, you get the authorization to live in the United States and to work for that business that you're investing in. That would be classified as the E2 business. So let's move on. What are the benefits of an E2 visa? Basically, one of the first benefits is that it allows you to work for yourself and run your own business. Which brings me to my next point. You do not need to have another company sponsor you. You're not beholden to another employer. You're working for yourself, you're your own boss, and you get to reap the rewards of any benefits, of any successes that you achieve in your business. As opposed to if you were under another visa category where you're obligated to work for another employer, and when you would just be like more of a traditional employee for another company. So that's why this visa is so good for entrepreneurs and investors. It allows you to truly, come to the United States and essentially start your process of living the American dream, so to speak. Another benefit is that it's valid for a really long period of time, comparatively. So E2, the length of time that an E2 visa is valid for depends on your country of citizenship. But many countries do grant pretty long E2 visas. For example, Canada oftentimes will grant up to a 5-year E2 visa. So that's another benefit. It's, as opposed to other visas that might only be valid for, relatively shorter periods of time. Another benefit is that the E2 visa can be renewed over and over again. So again, there are many visas that cap you out at a certain number of years. The E2 is not one of those visas. There's no limit to the number of times you can renew an E2 visa. I've come across E2 investors that have been here for 15 plus years, just continuing to renew their E2 visas. Another benefit of the E2 visa is that it gives your spouse work authorization. So you, as the primary investor, get authorization to work for your E2 business, and your spouse gets work authorization to work for any U.S. employer. So with your E2 visa, your spouse can work for any business in the United States that's willing to employ them, assuming your spouse gets the work authorization that's permitted under E2. Another benefit is that your children get authorization to attend school in the United States. That's something that we've seen is very important, understandably, to our clients, and it's rest assured that children do get children do get authorization to go to U.S. schools based on their parents' E2 visa. Child must be unmarried and under 21 years old to be a dependent on their parents' E2 visa. Moving on, next we're going to be talking about the requirements to get an E2 visa. So first, you must be from a country that has an E2 treaty with the United States. Now, E2 is not eligible, not everybody is eligible for E2. In order to be eligible for E2, you must come from a country that has an E2 treaty with the United States. There's many countries that have E2 treaties, but it's very important to make sure that your country of citizenship is on that list because it's the first requirement before anything else. You must have citizenship to that E2 country. Oh, and just going back for a second, if you do not have citizenship to an E2 country, it may be possible to get citizenship to a country that does have an E2 treaty with the United States in order to qualify for an E2 visa. It's a longer discussion to be had. If you have any questions about that, feel free to shoot me an email and we can discuss that in more detail. Next, probably the most important requirement for an E2 visa is that you must make a substantial investment in the U.S. company. So a lot of people ask me, how much do I need to invest? There's no minimum specified by the regulations. We've seen investments for as low as $50,000 or $55,000 get approved, but it's not ideal for me. I typically recommend to my clients to at least invest $100,000 to $150,000 US dollars to get approved for an E2 visa, the more you invest, the stronger your case is, essentially. So if possible, you should at least aim to invest 100,000 or more in your business. Next requirement is that your funds must come from a lawful source. So basically, we need to document how you earned your funds, and we need to show that your funds came from a lawful source. There's many different types of lawful sources of funds. It can come from your employment earnings, accumulated savings, proceeds from the sale of a property. It can come from a gift from a family member or a gift from a friend. It can come from an inheritance. There's many different ways to show lawful source of funds. It's important to know that you must be able to document a lawful source for the funds. Next requirement is that the business must be an active for-profit business. What this means is that you must be engaged in an active business, like a coffee shop or a restaurant, or a cell phone repair shop or something like that. What's not an active for-profit business? If you're just purchasing a piece of real estate and renting it out to somebody, that's considered a passive investment and it would not qualify for E2. Okay, so your business cannot be marginal. What this basically means is that your business cannot be just a small business that's just earning enough money to support you and your family. You must show that your business is going to earn more than enough to support just you and your family. And so if it's a new business, we do this with a business plan. We show projections to show where your business is going to be in a few years. Also, if you're employing people, that also helps to show that your business is not marginal. Your funds must be at risk. This is an important point that I constantly get questions about. And what this means is that some people think that you just deposit money into your bank account and you can apply for an E2 visa based on the funds just sitting in the bank account. And that's not the case. The funds must be at risk, meaning that the funds are essentially spent towards your business. So before applying for the visa, you must actually spend the funds. You either buy equipment, buy inventory, lease out an office, buy computers, whatever you need for your business, but that must take place. Otherwise, the immigration regulations basically take the position, so to speak, that your investment was not put at risk. Next requirement, last but not least, is that you must have the intent to depart the United States once your E2 status ends. And the way we typically do this is our clients sign a declaration demonstrating their intent to depart the United States following the end of their E2 status. Now, what's the process to get an E2 visa? First step is to set up a company and open a bank account for your company. There are many different types of business entities that qualify for E2, corporation, LLC. That's a product of a longer discussion. I'd be happy to discuss that with you. We've seen most of our clients elect to do LLCs, but again, this is based on a case-by-case basis. So basically, you set up your business entity, and then you open up your bank account for your business. Once those two steps are done, the next step is to transfer the funds into the business bank account. Once those funds are transferred, the next step is to spend those funds towards your business. Again, as I mentioned earlier, the funds must be at risk. So you either, you pay for your rent, you pay for your equipment, you pay for your inventory. You enter into those agreements with different vendors and service providers. And it's all part of the process of putting the funds at risk. And then once that's done, you go to the last step, which is applying for the visa. So that's kind of a snapshot of the process to get an E2 visa. And now another quick point that I want to discuss is that there's essentially two ways to apply for the E2. You can either do a change of status or you can do visa processing. Now, just a quick, there's a lot to know here, and I'm going through it really quickly in the interest of time. If you have questions, feel free to email me, but just really quickly, a change of status is basically done entirely in the United States. In order to do a change of status, you must be in the United States in some valid non-immigrant status. For example, if you're here on a B1, B2, or if you're here on some other valid non-immigrant status, the change of status is done through USCIS. It's eligible for premium processing, meaning that for an additional fee, you can get your case processed faster within 15 calendar days, which is a nice little benefit of doing a change of status. Another benefit of a change of status is that there's no interview. So that's a change of status. Visa processing is a little bit different. It's done outside of the United States. And basically the way it works with visa processing is that your application is submitted to a consulate or an embassy outside of the United States. Typically, this is done in your home country. And basically the consulate or the embassy reviews your application and they schedule an interview with you to go in where they'll ask you various questions about your business and any other information that's present in your application. So lastly, what I wanted to discuss is how to go from an E2 visa to a green card. This is a question that we get all the time. There's multiple different ways. I'm going to quickly go through some of them. One is the EB-5 visa. The EB-5 visa is very similar to the E2 visa. It's another investment-based option, but it's an immigrant visa. So where the E2 is a non-immigrant visa, it doesn't lead to a green card. EB-5 does lead to a green card. It requires a larger investment amount, and it also requires that you create a certain amount of jobs. There's ways to basically convert your E2 visa into an EB-5 visa by investing additional money into your existing E2 business, and there's various advantages to doing that. Again, product of a longer discussion. Feel free to reach out to me if you'd like to know more about that. Another option is an employer-sponsored green card. So as I mentioned earlier in this video, with an E2 visa, you as the principal investor have authorization to work for your E2 business, and your spouse has authorization to work for any employer in the US. One thing that we've seen a lot of is that oftentimes what we've seen is that either the investor or their spouse will have an offer from a US employer to sponsor them for a green card based on a full-time job offer. And that's another option for getting a green card from an E2 visa. Another option is EB-1A. This is a special green card category for people with extraordinary ability, with immense accolades, international awards in their particular field. If you're able to show that you're one of the top few percentage of people in your field, you may be eligible for EB-1A. And another option is the family-based option. If you have immediate family, certain types of immediate family that are U.S. citizens or permanent residents. For example, if you get married to a U.S. citizen, that's another route to a green card. So yeah, with that said, thank you so much for checking out our E2 training video. If you have any questions at all, feel free to schedule a consultation with us. We do offer a free initial consultation, or you can email me directly at michael@ashoorilaw.com. Thanks.